The moment he tries to sleep, his brain opens every tab at once. Body says, please shut down. Brain says, great, let's review your entire life. First, it replays one awkward sentence from 3 years ago. Then it upgrades a tiny problem into a midnight documentary. The room is quiet, so every thought sounds louder. No notifications are coming, but his mind still scrolls. It checks tomorrow's tasks like a nervous security guard. It asks, what if you forget the one important thing? Then it answers itself with 12 new worries. This is not because he is broken. It is because a tired brain can confuse thinking with control. Then the dream factory opens. He imagines the perfect, disciplined version of himself. That version wakes early, trains hard, and wins calmly. For a few seconds, imagination feels like progress. The brain gets a tiny reward from the movie, even before action. But the bed has not moved 1 inch. Success feels safer when it stays inside a dream. Inside the dream, nobody can reject him. Fear of failure whispers, if you try, you might find out. Fear of success whispers, if it works, people will expect more. So the brain picks a comfortable third option. It plans. Planning feels responsible, warm, and almost heroic. But too much planning becomes a very polite form of hiding. Perfectionism arrives wearing a serious face. It says, start only when the plan is clean. Then it asks for a better routine, a better mood, and a better Monday. Analysis paralysis builds a maze out of options. The more paths he sees, the less his body moves. Now procrastination looks like research. He is not lazy in the simple cartoon way. He is escaping the feeling of being judged by tomorrow. The comfort zone does not scream. It pulls the blanket higher and says, stay safe. The old identity joins in. It says, you are the kind of person who always starts later. The new identity is quieter. It says, show me one small piece of evidence. But at night, evidence feels harder than fantasy. So the brain opens another internal meeting. One voice wants success. One voice wants comfort. One voice wants a perfect plan. And one voice just wants sleep. They all talk at the same time. That is why his pillow becomes a conference table. The solution is not to win every argument at midnight. The solution is to give tomorrow less to argue about. So earlier in the evening, he writes one worry on paper. Then he writes the next tiny action beside it. Not a life transformation. Just one action that can survive low energy. He puts the phone across the room. He places water near the bed. He leaves a blank notebook open on the desk. Now the brain still talks, but the room is less easy to negotiate with. At bedtime, the old voices return. Fear still knocks. Perfectionism still adjusts its clipboard. The fantasy movie still offers a perfect future. But a small real step is already waiting. So he tells his brain, thank you, but we already chose the next move. The thought does not disappear. It just loses the steering wheel. Sleep begins when the brain no longer has to solve the whole life tonight, and the life he imagines begins when one tiny action survives tomorrow.
How do you like the video? Rate it with a like. Write your story in the comments.
See next week. Subscribe so you don't miss it.